In this lesson, we'll cover placing fabrication parts. So from the previous lesson, we covered setting up and including the fabrication settings. First thing we needed to do is run an installer to actually load the services for our actual fabrication. So once we have that done, we can actually use fabrication on our actual projects. So first, let's click the fabrication part icon on the Systems tab. This will open up the Fabrications part window on the very right. Now, if I don't see a service or a group, that means I have to click Settings to actually verify the configuration is loading into this project. So to do that, click Settings in the lower right, and then for the drop-down for configuration, choose Revit MEP Imperial Content version 1. Now again, the reason that is there is because we installed that from the previous lesson. If you currently do not have this here, go back to the previous lesson, Fabrication Settings, to load this in. Go ahead and select that. And for services, for this lesson, choose the first one, Ductwork plus 2-inch WG, and click Add. Once you do that, click OK. Now you could load in all of the other ones if you want, but for time purposes, I'm only loading the first actual service. With that service loaded, on the very right of your screen, you see services and groups. So depending upon how many services you loaded, you would see those in the service dropdown. The group is a sub or secondary selection for the service. So you could change this as well depending upon what you wanted to place inside of your model. I'm going to leave it set to rectangular. Now you'll see a variety of elements actually displayed. Some of these elements will have dropdowns. And if they have drop-downs, that means you could choose different sizes or options for those depending upon what you're placing, such as this 90-degree elbow has a selection of different options. Let's go back to the RECT group for rectangular. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, and what I want to place is an end cap. I'm going to choose the end cap S&D. Once you select that, move your mouse on the screen. Now, several things happen. One is the ribbon changes in the upper right to the Place Fabrication Part Tools, and the property box on the left changes depicting the properties of this element. To place this, simply move into an existing ductwork system, and once you see the snap grid points, go ahead and click. This will actually place that element inside of your existing ductwork. To end this part of the command, click Modify or Escape. Now, fabrication part is sticky, so it stays turned on until you turn it off, meaning if I click fabrication part again on the ribbon, it will turn off that part of my screen on the right. So as a review, in this lesson, we covered placing fabrication parts. We first talked about loading fabrication settings. If those weren't loaded, I referenced the previous lesson, fabrication settings, to load those in. Once the settings are loaded, you can choose what service you want, or services, and then run fabrication parts. We then looked at the fabrication part menus, basically the service and the groups, the options of those service and groups, and then how to drag and drop in place an element from the fabrication part menu.